Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendan Traxler.
Well, we're missing one of the main guys today, but guess what? Babe and I are going to take care of it. Welcome to the Atlanta Sea Colony live stream. My name's Adam, and this is Babe.
Howdy.
And we're filling in today, guys. Today, kind of just a open-ended live stream today. Just going to be able to kind of hang out with you guys and answer any questions and just do some discussion for a little while. And nothing too crazy today. I don't have any major updates from Brendan to share with you guys. I know he's been having a lot of discussions, making a lot of contacts, and doing a lot of that over the past couple weeks. So I guess it'll build more suspense and more for him to share next time he's on. But kind of same as always. We're just kind of working on what we've been working on. But other than that, Babe, what have you been up to?
Oh, mostly work. I can't claim any great adventures right now. Catching up with spring stuff so I can get out and do more stuff ourselves.
Yeah, that seems to kind of be what we're up to too up here. Is like, now that all the snow's melted, now we gotta find all the dog poop that's been out in the yard that's been building up for like the past 7 months, and trying to make the yard look presentable again. But yeah, we definitely makes me envy kind of where Brendan's at some days, where their cold days are like 60.
Yeah.
On that, I was actually just talking to you before the show. One of the things I've done recently is I bought a 3D printer, trying to get that to work. But I know Brendan's already been working with actually an acquaintance of yours on getting some stuff 3D printed. But once I'm able to figure this out too, it'll be nice to be able to do that, because we already have like the 3D designs and the files for it. So one of the things we've kind of talked about in the past is be able to actually have those 3D models to be able to like show people, even if it is on a smaller scale, be able to actually have something more physical rather than just the pictures that you see on our web pages and the social media and stuff. So be able to use that even like as a marketing deal, be able to send those out to people that might be interested in it, or someone that really needs a little bit more of an idea of what we're talking about, like how it would actually look and feel and all that. So it's just in the past couple of days, it's crazy the amount of things that people have already like designed and stuff like for free for 3D printers and stuff. It's a lot of fun not setting it up, but I see a lot of stuff that like I'm just like, oh, that'd be cool to print.
Yeah.
I think they even have one. Didn't they send one to like the International Space Station? That way, like if they need to like print a tool or something like that on the fly, like they have access to something that can, like if they need like a replacement part or a tool or something like that, they can do it right there at the.
Yeah, I was thinking I did hear that or read that, or maybe it was you guys talking about it.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like when granted, our endeavor wouldn't be quite the same, but like say you get down, you get settled into your habitat, and maybe you're there for like a research mission type deal. Like, crap, I forgot my crescent wrench up on the surface or whatever. Like, granted, when you're in the International Space Station, it's a lot worse probably. I'd be like, oh man, I forgot the flathead. back at Cape Canaveral or whatever. So it'd be kind of nice to be able to be like, all right, we'll just throw it on the 3D printer and we'll get our tool that we need real quick.
Multi-billion-dollar project. Don't have a flathead.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was that reminds me of there was a meme I saw this week where it's from the people making fun of the conspiracy theories of the International Space Station, or that we're not actually in space, and they were showing a picture of the inside of the International Space Station. They're like, you're telling me we spent billions of dollars on that, and like some electrician thought it was okay to have all those wires exposed all over the place.
Yeah, probably not up to code for most living environments. Yeah.
That's the thing. When you're in space, you don't have to live up to a code. You're not a part of any.
That's true.
You are the code in space. We are the code in the water. Granted, you still want to make everything safe, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. Because talk about safety podcast. Some of the podcasts I listen to. So this is a commercial divers podcast called The Downline. But that's one of the things they were talking about. And of course, they're talking all kinds of different things, but how in so many media, TV, movies, whatever, commercial diving is, this wild, territory where all this stuff happens. Well, this stuff does happen. But when you get on the right job and stuff, these guys are telling us, like, look, it's really, they're extremely safety conscious, especially if you're with the right people. And it is like to the nth degree, because they want it done right and they want it done safe. So there's not all that backlash and problems from it.
Yeah, it's, I have, like I said, I would like to get SCUBA certified eventually. But even just watching some of the like videos about it and reading about it is just how stringent it is, because of like how important communication is with especially when you're diving in groups and stuff. Obviously, that knowing where each other's at, knowing certain signals, knowing all your equipment, knowing how to like convey all these things, all while being underwater or whatever. And just how meticulous you have to be about checking your equipment, knowing your equipment, maintaining your equipment. So I mean, it's to someone like me that doesn't have a lot of that experience. Like before I started looking into it, I wouldn't have thought that much. I guess thought goes into a lot of it. I mean, I know, like, it, just like anything you do, you have to be like, just like when you go bungee jumping, all right, make sure your equipment's strapped on, But I mean, scuba diving is, so it's like, okay, well, you got to make sure your gauges are working, your computers are working, make sure your tanks are filled, make sure you're checking your depth and knowing where your gases and stuff are, that, and then if you're with someone, knowing where they're at, knowing, it's crazy to think about, like, trying to memorize all that, and knowing all that, and it's intimidating to think about.
It's just like driving a car, though. It's intimidating to think about it at first, and you need to learn the basics and build on the basics, learning the whole time. That's scuba diving. It's the same thing, because people do the argument, we're not meant to be underwater. Well, technically, we're probably not meant to go 70 mile an hour in a tin can either.
Absolutely.
So, it's kind of a moot point when it comes to, but yeah, you build on it, and then it becomes second nature that you're automatically doing those safety things. You don't even think about it. You just do it. And then, it's an ongoing thing. I'm going to say hey to Marty. I see he's there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Marty, how you doing today, buddy? Can't stay long. Phone is low on charge. Man, I'm low on charge today. Yesterday I had like a bad migraine. So like I came home early from work and like I slept for like 5 hours during the day. Well, then I was up all night because I like slept all day,
Yep.
which meant I didn't sleep at all like last night. So like I'm drained right now. But, I don't know. It seems like I'm always at a sleep deficit. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you're
like
right, Marty.
Marty was saying here, you have to log all your dives and depths and well, okay, so you would be able to answer, and I think I've asked Brendan about this before, but like, so you log all of your dives and all that, but like, is it basically like the honor system? Like, there's certain places where it's like, oh, you have to be able to, or like, we need to know that you have this many hours of diving or whatever, and blah blah blah. Like to know, like to do this,
Yeah.
like, but could you just be like, yeah, I did that before, like, like I've dived
Yeah.
hundreds of times.
Sure, I mean you could, but the more I'll say, the more places have come on board with, like, logbook and wanting to see this training or whatever, want to see. So like when we stayed underwater, Thane signed off on our stuff. And
Oh, okay.
then like if you with a dive buddy, you sign off on each other's if no one's around to, no one else is around to do it. And I've had plenty of dives that no one signed my stuff. I just log it. That's the nice thing about wearing a video camera. Like, I got video proof. It's like you can't say that I wasn't there. I got video proof.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I haven't thought about it like that. But yeah, like that was one of those things I thought about where it's just like, could you technically just like, because from what I understand, like there's certain diving excursions that you do where they want you to be a little bit more advanced depending on where you're diving and all that. So it's just like, could you just be like, oh yeah, I've got hundreds of hours in and just like, just what do they call it? Just pencil whipping something.
Yeah, well, yeah, in a way you could, but at the same time, like, because I've kept all my logbooks, I have logbooks that date back years.
Right.
But then I know divers that have dove so much, they don't even keep logbooks. A lot of them still have video cameras, so they're still getting some kind of a log of it. And the nice thing about computer logs now, computers, dive computers, you download that into a computer. Now you've got that log too. So I mean, things have changed a lot.
I suppose it
depends on where you go.
You could almost compare it to, and granted, like the government's not involved in this, but like when I used to be a shipper back at my old job, loading trucks and stuff, you'd always hear about the truckers talking about how they have electronic logs now, where like everything's like on a computer and there's electronic logs to like where people are keeping track of how many hours they're driving because they legally cannot.
Yeah.
Whereas like they would always say like before you could just write down what you were doing and you could just drive nonstop because nobody was, I mean, other than just they could just go by your word. Whereas now like the computers are hooked up to the trucks of being like they actually shut the truck down and so it's just like, yeah, like you were saying with a lot of the new equipment that's coming out, I suppose can actually there's probably some sort of service up there that you sync it up to your dive watch or whatever it is, and it logs all that data to some app. And if there isn't something like that, I'm sure there will be in the future.
But there is. I mean, already. I mean, I don't know all about that the Ultra 8 iPhone or not iPhone iWatch, but it links with an app. So anything you do as far as diving goes to that app. So yeah, it logs everything there for you.
I wouldn't already say here. Medically, if you're injured, the doctors want to know how long your lungs were under that pressure, and or the mixture was right or off. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, he's referring to because in the logbooks it asks what gas mixture you use, because you can use nitrox, or if you're a tri-gas user or something like that, you would definitely log that.
Okay, yeah. So I wonder. Well, I suppose with us being in a pressured and like going back to the habitats, just being in a pressurized environment, you wouldn't have to necessarily, that wouldn't be the same thing unless you were at an extreme depth, of course. But our 1 atmosphere type deal, you're not mixing gases, you're not doing any of that, so you wouldn't have to worry about that, having to log like, oh, I was in this kind of straight up oxygen or whatever you might want to say.
Yeah, it's in the 1 atmosphere, it's no different than you and I right now. It's not a saturated environment, so yeah, it'd be the same.
I'm actually pulling up.
It's when Brendan and I stayed at Jules to do the Aquanaut thing. I mean, we were at saturation, so we were at the same as the water around us on the outside of the habitat, and that makes you a saturation diver or person. That's
trying to. I pulled up a picture I wanted to. Oh, here we go. So this isn't. Where did I go? I've never. So I don't know what dive logs look like, but does this look familiar to you?
I mean, okay. There's all kinds of different ones, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, this is like I've never actually looked up to what it is that you would be marking down, but okay, I can kind of see here, like, yeah, what your mixtures are, and okay, yeah.
So you have times on the surface that you log. You have times, in depths that you go to. You have protection, like if you're wearing wetsuit, dry suit, how thick a wetsuit, how much weight you're wearing with all that, what kind of cylinders you have, your gas cylinders, what kind they are, because there's different kinds of aluminum and steel and different sizes, and what pressures they are. You can log stuff to the nth degree. You probably see in there where you can even log weather and water, what the water environment was like.
Well, I'm seeing too here, like you can like what kind of mood you were in when you were diving here. They have
I didn't see that. Oh yeah, if it's a good dive or if it's a bad dive or how you.
I thought it was like an emotion thing. Like, man, I was angry that day.
That puffer fish made me mad.
Yeah, that just ruined my day. Well, it makes me think like that's the worst part of any job though, is doing the paperwork to it. It's just like when you have to do like any job that you have, you just want to do the parts that are easy. Then it's like, oh no, I have to do the paperwork part of it. So I think for me anyways, that'd be the monotonous part. Be like, oh, I have to fill this out now.
I use, now that I have a dive computer, I'll do several dives, and then when I get a kick and I'll sit down and log it all into a book. As I'm old school, I like the hard, I like the hard copy.
What did Marty say here? For your information, if you are a scuba diver and you go down in a submersible, you even have to log that down, what time you went down, how far you traveled, and what time you came up, how long the ride took. Sure.
Yeah.
He says those look very familiar, so Marty's familiar with all those. That I'd like to be like a game fish and parks guy or a coast guard to be like, hey, let me see all those logs real quick. Let me ruin your day. Let us pull up on my boat and just ruin your good time and ask for paperwork and licenses and stuff right away. I suppose there's good in having some sort of backup, or not backup, but record of what it is you're doing. And
yeah, well, it can be. Go ahead.
Especially if it's like something that you enjoy doing. At least then it's like, I had fun and I can like recollect what I did here, and at least I know I had some fun times rather than writing paperwork on something that you hated doing.
But it's advantageous. I mean, to me, the idea of it is because if you want to do anything in the industry, well, you have a proof of experience, for
Sure.
So, it's just like, and it's if people don't know, I'm in the medical field, and it goes back to the old adage we learned years ago: if you don't chart it, it didn't happen.
Right.
So, if you don't log it, it didn't happen.
Yep. Well, even I have a desk job now, and I just do a lot of I handle a lot of inventory type stuff and moving inventory around and blah blah blah. I'm logging all that. So when I get emails asking me to make some sort of inventory adjustment or whatever, I'll print off that email and keep it in my logs. That way, if anybody ever comes back hey, why'd you move this stuff around, be this email, that's why. I have a physical copy of that email that says why I did
it.
That's right. So I suppose everything you do that's important, you need to probably have some sort of way of recording it.
Yep.
Marty says just as well as the military. Yep. Not that I would know. I was not in the military, but there's one thing I do know about it is the discipline of everything you do in that. But yeah, that's cool. I out of all of this time talking with you guys about scuba diving and stuff, I've never actually pulled up what a dive log looked like.
And it's not hard. It's not.
I suppose, especially if it's all of it's already formatted for you, it's just fill in the blanks.
Yeah, and there's so many different, what I guess be publishing companies that have their own version of what it should look like.
Right.
So, you find one you like and run with it because it's awesome that way. Although, being from when we didn't have dive computers, I still buy the waterproof ones. Half the time I don't even have them at the water with me, but I still buy the waterproof ones. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I'm trying to think of I said, but the weird thing is up here is there is a few places you can get scuba certified, but they're so few and far apart because there's not great big places to train either, whether just open pools or there's maybe a couple quarries or something, but which doesn't seem as much fun to learn. I guess most people that I've talked to about it, they got trained in something like a quarry or something like that. They didn't go get trained in the Maldives or something like that, where it's just instantly just beautiful water and scenery. But it's I think that's one of the things that is not making me apprehensive, but where I'm not putting it on my priority list. It's man, I'm just so impatient when it comes to things. I want to immediately swim in a nice, beautiful area and see sea turtles and whatever, not bass and carp. I'm good. I've grown up with that stuff. I don't need to see it up close.
It still changes when you see it from, I'll say, their point of view.
Yeah,
instead of what you looking.
We could.
Well,
waterproof ones and grease pencils. I've never heard of grease pencils.
Yeah. The pencils you use to write on the waterproof paper, because that it wouldn't wash off and smear off with the water.
I suppose, yeah. Huh. Man.
Yeah, we're old, okay. But I know your pain because growing up, and I grew up on the prairie of Colorado. There wasn't a place to go scuba diving for a very long drive, and so but my dad was awesome. He knew I would love it, and he got me into it. Went the extra mile for it, Marty.
Yeah. Yeah, if anything, I got my above ground pool that we have to put up. I'll I'll just train myself. I'll just look up some YouTube videos and try to get.
There you go.
Just
be sure to sleep on a Holiday Inn Express the night before too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. No, but what else is new in the world of underwater aquatic stuff? I know in Discord we've been just the guys in there like to toss around a lot of different ideas on
yes,
yeah. Some are interesting and some I'm just like, all right, guys.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
But it's always fun to I guess have the thought exercises is maybe a good way of putting it. Where
sure.
Just someone throws out an idea and it's just like, well, okay, let's think about that. But
yeah,
like Brendan says, it's just like we got our, ASC has its design and everything down, and we know what we're going to pursue. It's still fun listening to all the other ideas and concepts that could work, but we know what we're going to go for.
Right.
Just a matter of getting there at this point. And we got some stuff in the works, I guess, but same battle motto that we've had past few years is just waiting for that magic moment. Personal diver assistance torpedoes are getting smaller and faster. Torpedoes? I don't know. I don't know if I want to even think about torpedoes.
I want to see where he's going with this. Good news. It won't bite you. It's good news.
Yeah. I don't want to get bit by a torpedo. I don't know if I want to get bumped into by one either. Yeah. No, I feel like there was, now I'm going to try to pull it up while we're talking, but I think there was some sort of news article or something that we were talking about recently in the Discord. Well, we talked plenty about what's that show? Sequest, thank you. And say that a lot of the conversation got sidetracked with Sequest there for a little while, but I know we it's been a little bit, but one of the things we had some pretty intense conversations about was all the different types of I guess power and utilities that we could hopefully be able to work with. And I know the initial concept, until there's more development in harnessing currents and stuff, is that ASC will have that buoy type system that will have something on the surface, and more than likely harnessing solar power to be able to get the electricity, the grid or whatever, and depending on where it's at. I mean, we've talked that if it's just barely off the coast, then more than likely you just hardwire stuff and just have it cabled in and bury it or whatever. But I mean, that's one
I'm
of the.
Looking at this picture.
Which one?
Marty sent us a picture. Oh yeah. It's they're diver scooters.
I thought he meant an actual torpedo.
Yeah, I was wondering what it was, but now I know exactly what he meant. Yeah, because boy, some of those are amazing now. Just how small they are. One I'm not going to say the brand names because I don't want to mess up the thing, but like one of it has stackable battery packs. So the more battery packs, the longer it is, but it looks like a little torpedo with handles, and it's like and the more, of course, the more battery packs, the longer you get to play underwater with it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that'd be perfect for a guy like me that's like just I'm out of shape, but I'm not, it'd be like I need that little scooter to get around, like to go check out all the cool stuff.
So, there's a new system, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say the brand name of it either, but it helps you with your buoyancy, and it's all built into your cylinder. So your air cylinder, it's all built in. It's a really cool looking system. I just I've always wondered if it's going to limit down or in water time more just because of the volume that you're using in the cylinder. But I always got to thinking about that, and it's like with these tiny little scooters now and something like that, and with the technology they have, because there was someone also working on your buoyancy control all being hooked to your dive computer, and like you would tell it, you program to tell it what you want, and it takes you there, and then it'll keep you there. So you're cruising around at the same, which that's cool and it's really cool.
Right.
But in the end, you still need to know how to do it yourself. So if that stuff, kicks the bucket, you need to know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's been the argument for a lot of technology, where it's just like, oh, we can just do this for you. It's like, but you should still know how to do it by yourself, because if you become 100% reliant on anything and that thing fails, which it happens, you don't want to be in a position, especially in this kind of deal, where it's just like, oh, okay, now my safety's at risk. It's like, it's one thing like if a calculator can do math for you, and it's just like, well, without a calculator, you just look stupid when you ask a simple math question. But like if your diving equipment, like the computers that run that and stuff, if that fails, well, now your life's at risk if you don't know what you're doing to control your.
You look dead, is what you look. You look dead, not stupid. You look dead.
Yeah, you look blue probably because you got air. So
ocean colored.
Yeah, you'll be looking pretty stiff, maybe a little bloated too, depending on the environment. But anyways, go ahead.
Oh, just Marty put on here also the fluid breathing is a thought too, and it is. I think it was neat because we go back to we've mentioned the movie The Abyss quite a few times here, and so and he just put that, and so that was actually done. It's actually there's some people will go back to it every once in a while. That last I heard, it's been kind of put to the side right now because rebreathers systems are so much better than they used to be, and of course the problems with getting it back to normal after breathing liquid, essentially.
Right. And
so
how does that whole thing work, the fluid breathing?
I tell you what, we'll have to tackle that one another one, because I'm not going to go into all that right now. Not only that, I'm scared to misquote it, because I remember I used to be able to tell you, and I'm scared to get it wrong now. But there's something in our lungs called surfactant that helps humans breathe, and that's that's a really easy version of it. A super easy version of it, but it's something that when you fill your lungs with fluid, it can be a problem, because just like any lubricant, you're washing it out then. And you have to have that in your lungs. It helps everything move right to breathe.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I think Brendan tried to explain it once before, and it was like basically a super weird concept of where, like, after going through those, you could just essentially be able to just no equipment, right? Just kind of like.
Yeah, you still have to have something to get the oxygen you need into the fluid. So there's still going to be equipment no matter what.
Okay.
Like you can't just go breathe water. That won't work.
I'd say that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It tries to equal the pressure inside your suit and the lungs.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's what breathing liquid would alleviate is it's a lot of pressure issues, for people under pressure. So I mean, that's cool. It's been worked on a lot.
Right. You want to wave? I'll be up and over.
I'm going to address Marty here. Is what you and I talked about? You put in the group chat, Marty, and I talked to Brendan about it, and I want him there too because we're all sci-fi fans, so I just feel like it would be unfair to not have him as part of that conversation. So he said we'll plan one of our live streams actually just be around, and what it is the influence of sci-fi on things like this, on our topic. So I'm not
say one of our very original podcasts, like before we were even doing the live streaming, we did an episode about this, like the sci-fi in the media, whether it's shows or video games and stuff. So yeah, it'd be really cool to be able to revisit that. And
that's exactly what he said. Yeah,
because I'm sure back then we missed a bunch of it too. Like there's so many different things out there, and then once you get in the live stream format, you can sit there and if it's a little bit relaxed, you can be like, "Oh yeah, do you remember this?"
Well, I told Brendan that I was going to plug Neptune 100 stuff. So what's going on at Jules Undersea Lodge, and I wore my print on my La Chalupa shirt tonight instead of an ASC shirt because those guys are doing the Neptune 100 with Dr. Joe DeTuri. He's staying 100 days underwater there at the same place that Brendan and I had stayed at to get our aquanaut stuff. And so they've been doing all kinds of cool things. Go to the Jules Undersea TV, I think is what it's called. It's a YouTube channel anyway. And, if you look for it, you'll find it. They got all kinds of content they're putting out on there, interviews, the stuff they've been doing, what's going on and why they're doing it. So I told Brendan I was going to plug that because it really relates to or ASC so much. And so I'm probably catching you off guard, but it's really cool. I wish I was there. I wish I was part of it. But that's all right. It's cool. I get to see it. So we can watch it. It's a modern age. We get to see this stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it looks like here you can go to mrdf.org/Project Neptune and get some more information about it as well. From March 1st to he's been down there 2 months now.
Yeah.
And it ends on June 9th, is what it's saying here. We've been following both the Jules page because they obviously are sharing a lot of it. They've been doing a lot of cool stuff with that whole project. They've been having a lot of interaction with like a lot of the I don't know if it's like the schools or like there's certain diving groups with like kids and stuff that have been down there and
all the above.
Just tons of different things that they've been doing with this project. So it's super cool to see that to see this project going. Ideally someday in the future when we get this project done, 100 days underwater won't be that big a deal because it'll be so accessible to so many. But in the meantime, this is a pretty cool, feat that we get to see. And especially having Jules be a part of that because obviously being like the only underwater habitat right now anyways, being able to do this. And it goes back to what we've been saying from the very beginning is that there is a reason to be able to do this in the research field as well. I mean, that's that being able to do these kinds of missions, whether whether, they're doing some, extensive and intense research, or if it's just something like, hey, we're to bring awareness to a subject, regardless of what it is, it's like being able to have that ability to do that is just really cool. And it's cool to watch. And I'll be excited to see that, what he'll have to say about everything like June 10th, once he's done with it, and be able to like, what are his overall thoughts on the 100 days and just overall how the project went. But yeah, you can
from a medical point of view, I want to see what's going on, but he said it'll probably be October before they get a lot of like test results and stuff back, just because literally all these tests that he's having done, that's what I do in the medical field.
Yeah.
Like
So I mean,
all the above. So it's I'm really interested to see like what's going on.
Yeah,
with it.
Yeah, you have a lot of skin in the game with this one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that it would be interesting because that was one of the things they did on the International Space Station too, is how long or how does it affect the body being in that atmosphere for however long. And there was a lot for them to figure out too. I mean, obviously different environments, different atmospheres, obviously, but still, when your body is put into a different type of environment out of the norm, there's got to be super useful information of what happens to your body, and like what can you learn from that. Is there medical benefits from that? You are going to scare the hell out of me. Sorry, my kid just popped up right behind my computer screen. All I see is my desk, and here's my monitor, and here's a face right here just staring at me. Anyways, hey, I'm still live streaming there, honey. So people are counting on me to talk to people other than you. Anyways,
well, I tell you what, those stuff they're doing, and they have different guests staying or come and do interviews, saying the schools and stuff, which is cool. I mean, the people they've had there in person, and then like Joe, he gives a bunch of high fives and stuff. And then like Ocean's First, if you've kept, watch anything with Jules, then they've been working with Ocean First a lot, which Ocean First started in Boulder, Colorado, which is where I first learned how to scuba with Scuba Joe in Boulder, Colorado. And that's where I was. So I think it's pretty cool. But they work with them real close, and they have those interviews. So they're actually making points that help us as far as conservation, so ocean conservation. And they're pushing, and they're doing it from an environment where people say it can't be done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is a shame that it gets, once again, one of the things we've always talked about is like a lot of this gets kind of swept under the rug because there's so much focus on the space race and all that stuff, which is great stuff. It's fun to watch, blah, blah. Once again, another important field of research, but there's still so much that we could learn right here. And we live in an era where, we focus on what's popular and what's catchy, what's mainstream and all that. And right now it's a space industry, but it's thankfully there's enough of our type of groups that we are maintaining a group of people that is focused on this, and it's slowly spreading as well. So it's just like, once people see what we're trying to do and what people have already been able to do, like you said, especially with this Project Neptune, that might start gaining more and more interest in this field as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, buddy.
Well, I'm going to do the other plug.
Yeah, do the other plug.
All right, it's that shirt right there. So right here in my background, and it's Aquarius Reef Base. And Aquarius has kind of dropped off the map for a while because COVID and everything really shut them down hard. I guess that we were wondering if they were ever going to be there again. So I just on Instagram, I believe it is one of the people that I follow on LinkedIn, and that's what it is. One of the people there that's going to be in one of the upcoming missions posted that it's a go. So I'm excited because this is, I used to watch Aquarius Reef Base live feed with my kids, have it sit on the computer in the background, and so I'm pretty excited. And so if you got one of those shirts, then you know, because there was a very limited amount of those shirts made, and it was part of a fundraiser for the habitat. Is where that shirt came from. But that's I'm plugging it too because people are interested. Keep your ear to the water because there's upcoming missions.
Yep. Yeah, and that's great to hear too, especially because, like you said, they were, had a lot of radio silence basically for a long time. So being able to keep that alive. Ben, outside of ASC, do you see a large community emerging from this? What would it look like? I mean, yes, because there's already so many different groups other than ASC that are working on this type of deal. There's different companies, different people that have different concepts, different ideas on how this will go down. But like I've always said, in this field, we're always like cheering on what would technically be our competitors in the business sense, just because there is, the ocean is such a large place, and it is such a niche field to get into. But I think once people, groups like ASC and some of these other ones, once they become successful, I mean, we're opening the doors to so many opportunities. Our designs are going to be, especially the phase 2 designs, are all modular to where you could essentially build a apartment complex or a hotel or whatever, like be able to have a large enough, maybe like a small village or something. And there's some designs out there from other people where they're just like giant buildings underwater. So whatever, I truly believe that once we are able to accomplish this and be able to get move this forward, it will become a part of, society, not society, but it'll be a part of how we look at habitation, really. Like, it will be another option for some people to be able to have both like seasteads and underwater habitats as an option for living.
Yeah, I'm gonna add to that if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going back to commercial diving, the podcast I listened to, and one of the big where from everything, the world being shut down, now it's become more noticeable as things pick back up, and they're calling it the blue economy. So a lot of nations worldwide have really been focusing on things in the ocean, things from the sea, not, and that isn't to say to, ruin the ocean. That's actually been one of the main focuses for businesses at the ocean, is to make sure they're doing it in a conservation way. So they're calling it the blue economy. And that isn't going to slow down. That, that is where a lot of stuff is headed. We're just going to be part of that. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, we're in a position where I've been thinking a lot too, where it's just like we're having a hard time getting the attention of some people to try to like get this moving. But I think eventually, like, if we don't find the right people are going to eventually find us, because it's like I said, this is something that's already in motion. So eventually someone's going to be like, oh man, we need some underwater like housing or something like that. Be like, oh, okay, these guys have been trying to work on this. Like, we'll go to them, So it's like, we're trying to get ahead of it, obviously, and want to, pioneer it. But I think there's someone out there that is focused on one project, and they're going to eventually find the need for someone like us. And it's going to work out well that way as well.
Yeah, well, we're laying layers on a groundwork that was laid years ago, and now it's being built on.
Absolutely. Well, having said all that, do you have anything else you'd like to touch on, or?
No, I hope that answers Ben's question. But otherwise, I'd say it's getting late enough. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
well,
Ben.
So, as normal, I'm going to go through this real quick with you guys. LinusCcolony.com. That's where you'll find all of our socials. That's the Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube page. Our Discord link is on there as well. Please join the Discord. We always got good conversation going on over there. A lot of active members over there that like to discuss different ideas and thought exercises and all that. So it's fun to be a part of Discord. Sorry, I'm having time matching my mouth with the links. Also, LinusCcolony.com/merch if you want to get some gear. I can never show it because the light reflects right off of it, but I got my Stingray ASC hat right here. Been wearing that a lot lately. Been wearing my football shirts and my ASC hat. That's kind of been my get up lately, even though football season's not going on right now. It's just still kind of my thing. Otherwise, patreon.com/AtlantaSeaColony. If you are able to, please join that and donate. We have different tiers. Brian Acosta, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, and this handsome guy right over here is our patrons so far. And all that is extremely helpful as far as this being able to build up being able to do the things like marketing, get the 3D designs that we got going on, get the videos and all this, like all the tools that we need to try to reach out to the big fish or whatever. It would be great to be able to do this by crowdfunding, and maybe that will be an option. But in the meantime, the Patreon helps us maintain what we have going on and be able to build the tools to put a big piece of bait on the hook and throw it out to the big corporate fishing pond. I don't know. I'm trying to make some sort of analogy. It's not working, but that's what we're trying to do. Other than that, guys, I don't know. He has Blue Economy Primer here. I don't know what that was in regards to. Do you know what that's in regards to? That might be something he has to explain next time he's on.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out.
Maybe this is just a teaser for the next episode. What is Blue Economy Primer? But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Babe, thanks for joining and
thank you.
Giving me someone to talk to other than Brendan for once. And other than that, guys, we will see you in another 2 weeks.